This is Daniel R. Levi with ReviewStash.com, and it's time to unbox. Now, say what you want about OCZ and their reliability, but you have to admit this is some pretty cool looking packaging. I mean, they got a dang R here that's missing part of the letter. That tells you that they're definitely extreme. So, here's the packaging in the Revo Drive 3. It's a bootable PCIe solid-state drive. There's a little picture of it. I'm guessing that's probably what's inside of there. Looks kind of like a Vidya card, but there ain't no dang VGA, DVI, HDMI, BLCR, XR2 connectors on it, so not sure how I'm supposed to get my digibits transferring through it. I guess no go there. It's got all of its features. They say that it enables trim. The two SandForce controllers do have trim functionality, trim commands, but the RAID controller will not receive commands under Windows 7 to enable trim on the two SandForce controllers. Kind of a bummer, but the garbage collection on this drive is actually really great from what I've heard. Better than even on some of the SanDisk Extreme type drives, which by the way also don't have trim enabled, so if you're going to jump on one of those, be sure to do a little bit more reading on that. Windows 8, Microsoft is promising to put out trim commands over the SCSI mini port adapter, which will allow the controller to send trim commands to these two controllers. So that'll be good. We'll have trim over RAID for everybody, and everybody will be happy. It's got some made up terms here, VCA. This again made up. Super scale, going to minimize your burden and facilitate your performance. I'm glad that what I paid for is going to facilitate me. Now on the back you'll see a lot of words here. That's good. SandForce driven, whatever. Bunch of languages also that I'm not so good at, although there is the Espanol there. So that's good. So I got two of the languages on there. Now the sticker is crooked, so definitely a downside to this device. Really bumming me out, but I guess I can get past that. So now you just gotta slap it open like that, and you gotta really just pull out this slider. Whoa! Whoa, did I get two of them? What's going on? Whoa! 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 Oh, it's got a box in there. It's a box in a box. Look at this dang thing. They got another... They keep printing these R's wrong. I think somebody at their factory needs to tell them this. You gotta have a leg there on that letter. It's a pretty big box. It's pretty thick. I guess this is where all the dang OCZ reliability R&D testing money goes in their dang box manufacturing. So you just slap that there. It's one of them slap type boxes. Pull it out again. OCZ likes their pull out boxes. Now you get a bunch of stuff in here. Some dang drivers. Dumb. Stickers. SSD is faster than your dang hard drive or something. Sure. I dropped the boxes. So you got some foam. That's nice. I mean, keeps it dang safe. Whoa. Uh-oh. I don't know about this. Looks like we got a caution warning of some sort here. I need to make sure that I am at a static-free workstation. So just to keep in mind, everybody at home, make sure that you are at a static-free workstation, again, per this warning, and be sure to pinch your chopsticks like that. I'm sure this is a nice static-free area with this carpet that my cat jumps on, so no static here, but definitely handle with care. So let's slap her open. For this task, I like to use my American key. It represents freedom, if you haven't seen one of these before. So you take your American key, which represents, again, freedom, as you can see. You slap it along there and you saw, making sure to be very careful to not introduce static into your workstation. And there you go. Didn't even know about American keys. So here is the device itself in person. I see that OCZ never fails to make things crooked, because not only was my dang sticker crooked, but now my heatsink is crooked and it's just not good. I'm not digging it. A word of advice here, these vents, these venting holes are next to this heatsink for a good reason. This RAID controller actually does get very hot to the touch. I recommend having a side fan running, and don't wedge this between two video cards, an SLI or a Crossfire. This thing's going to overheat, and you're probably going to have a bad day, if I had to guess. So again, this is the RAID controller, and these are the two SandForce controllers. So as we all know, SandForce is super duper reliable, but now you get two SandForce controllers, which means twice the fun, I think. Again, PCIe, make sure that your motherboard isn't going to throttle down your PCIe port. This is 4x. If you have a spare 8x or 16x, again, check and make sure it doesn't throttle your port down to like 1x or something. I know that some motherboards that don't support SLI and Crossfire, if you have a video card installed in your top port, they will throttle this down, and you will not get the full 8 gigabits per second, which means you will not have enough bandwidth to sustain the advertised 1000 megabyte per second read and 900 megabyte per second write, which means you basically just purchased a gigantic offset heatsink sticker device, which doesn't even taste good. On the back, more memory bank. This is the 240 gigabyte version again. Some dang kebabbers on there. Don't even know. ICs. And these are Micron chips, which is also no bueno because Micron super duper sucks. So you got SandForce and Micron. I hope this is reliable and does not explode, but I think they do offer a 5-year warranty on these enterprise cards. So when it does explode, and it probably will, either you can use the warranty, or with all this dang blinging out gold on here, you can just melt this thing down, get yourself a nice necklace for the kids, you know? So this is my unboxing, and thank you for watching. This has truly felt like a Crimbus morning for me. Now, let's see how this dang thing does against my old SATA 2 X25V Intel 40GB SSD drive. Well, I showed you guys the benchmarks, and you gotta take a sweet look at this thing. It's with the crooked heatsink, making me super mad. And now you're probably wondering, is this a product for me? No. Not really. I mean, you have to consider the fact that it's not going to be able to be used and handed down to your laptop or your other computer. There's more hassles to deal with this. You might have problems using another RAID controller because this has a RAID controller running on it. So you might lose your, your 1 terabyte spin point RAID functionality. Your boot's going to actually take longer because it has to load up the BIOS for the onboard RAID controller, which is right here. Firmware updates and BIOS updates are an absolute joke because you have to go through a process where you use a live Linux USB stick running OCZ software, and when you're running the software to update it, it can't be your boot device. So if you're using this for your operating system and you need to upgrade it because a firmware comes out that actually lets you use important features like trim and say it's not just Microsoft's responsibility, then you'll have to transfer your operating system to another hard drive or solid state drive, and then pop this back in as a non-boot drive, wipe it, and then update the firmware on it and transfer back your operating system. I mean, you can ghost it, there's tons of ways to image it, but considering with a regular solid state drive, you usually don't have to deal with that. It's a pretty big hassle. It is quick, as you saw from the benchmarks. Even with compressed data, 1,000 megabytes per second, almost read, a little bit under that. That's pretty crazy. Maybe even cray-cray, possibly. But it's quick, no doubt, and if you can get this for less than 170, 160, you're willing to experiment a little bit. You maybe do a lot of video editing, software development, anything that requires a lot of disk access. That's worth a shot, but for everybody else, even if you're willing to go OCZ, just get two Vertex 4s and RAID 0 them, and you'll come out with better performance than this if you have a SATA 3 motherboard. And even if you don't, most people will be just fine on their SATA 2 motherboard with any standard solid-state drive. Just buy as big as you can so you get high memory density and really quick input-output operations, and you'll be generally happy. Even with my slow X25 40GB Intel SSD, for day-to-day operations, I really can't tell a difference. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, comments, questions, let me know. And as always, subscribe.